All right, Thursday night football, Miami Dolphins versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, a battle of two of the three Florida teams. Let me hit you as I always do with the projections, and then we'll just talk about the matchup. I actually don't love Ryan Fitzpatrick this week, although I can probably honestly say I never love him any week, although he was a top 10 QB this week. I don't have him as a start. You can find better. Jordan Howard, I don't like. I like Myles Gaskin. He is the primary ball handler there. David and I will talk about that in just a bit. Wide receivers, Devontae Parker, he played, although he was banged up. He'll probably do better this week. I don't have a great projection on him, but I think you can start him. Gesicki at this point, look, he put up a huge week last week. I think that he's projected as a really nice matchup this week, so I think you can start him, but there is risk there. We've only seen him really pop that 1 week. We'll talk about him as well. Now, on the Jacksonville side, Gardner Minshew to me is a slam dunk start, although weird stuff happens on Thursday Night Football, but I love Gardner Minshew, especially in daily fantasy football this week. Top 10 quarterback in fantasy football 2 weeks running, and that's going to be a trend, everybody. Running back, Robinson is a start for me. I love the way he runs the ball. DJ Chark is a definite start. I actually like Shenault and Keelan Cole this week. Keelan Cole more for daily fantasy, but if you're desperate, if you got hit by the injury bug and you can't find a flex, he might be somebody you can scoop up and play, although I think he can do better. And then Tyler Eifert, although he got in the end zone this week, I'm going to sit on him. I don't like the matchup this week. I like him future in the season, just not this week. So, David, why don't you take it away with thoughts and impressions?
I'm conflicted here because, as you mentioned, the longer you play fantasy football, the more you hear the narrative not to play your players on Thursday night
Mm.
because it's a short week. Teams don't have time to game plan, and it just tends to be messy. It tends to be sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm becoming bullish on multiple Jaguars. We've talked about Minshew
Yes.
all
Yeah.
offseason. Everybody knows that. James Robinson, through 2 games, he's pacing for 256 carries this year, 1,300 rushing yards and 32 receptions. So the yards per carry is going to come down for Robinson a little bit, but he's got 16 carries in 2 straight games. So I think the floor for Robinson, I mean, he's essentially like David Montgomery right now. We're talking about 250 carry pace,
Mm-hmm.
1,300 yards, 32 receptions. That's about what you want from David Montgomery. So I think Robinson's going to be starting to become a fixture in starting lineups.
Let me
You
cut in
talk
on
about, yeah,
Robinson
go
real
ahead.
quick, just to add to that. And again, people who follow me, they know like I watch every game. I did not watch Jacksonville live yesterday. I am going to catch up on that on NFL Game Pass probably today. But what I've seen from Robinson, and this is why I'm so pissed that there wasn't an off season, because I would have been on him early. There's an it factor with running backs when you see them. This is why I've always kind of been against Ronald Jones. I've never seen it. And what means it to me is when the guy takes the ball and he runs into somebody and you got two people on him and he still gets another 3 yards. I mean, he's explosive. He's powerful. He can do everything in the run game. Jay Gruden loves running backs. And I would have been able to tell you in week 1 of preseason that he was going to be the starter in this offense. He is more impressive physically to me than Leonard Fournette ever was. And I like Leonard Fournette, or liked him, I guess, for Jacksonville. I'm a big fan of Robinson. I'm pissed there wasn't a preseason because people that had their drafts back in early August, if you read my almanac, you would have been there. But I didn't get that this year because I didn't see it on film. So I was late to the party on him, and I'm a little bitter about it. But anyway, take it away again.
Well, I just because you hit on his athleticism, and this guy is a legit athlete. Don't
Mm-hmm.
sleep on him just because he was undrafted.
Right.
His 40 time was nothing impressive, 4.64, I believe. Not great for running back. But his vertical, 40 inches, and this guy weighed in at a grisly 5'10", 220. So to jump 40 inches at that sort of frame,
Yeah,
that was the second highest vertical at the combine. Guess
that's
who was the
crazy.
number one? Well, for running backs, guess who was number one this year?
Uh,
A.J. Dillon.
AJ
A.J.
Dillon, how
Dillon,
about that?
who's been lauded for his size, speed, athleticism combo. James Robinson, just as thick as A.J. Dillon. He's a little shorter, not as heavy, but he's just as thick. He's got the same lower body explosiveness, and that was highlighted in the vertical. When you talk about the it factor, you could see it on film on that touchdown run this week. You'll notice it. He barreled his way into the end zone.
Yeah, I can't think. I mean, there's a guy that I know he reminds me of people. I'm trying to think of a comparison player that I've seen. Because again,
You know who it is for me?
who?
It's early career Chris Carson, where somehow
That's a good
he
one.
was late drafted. He was making a little bit of noise in the preseason, and he just somehow grabbed the week 1 starting role and never gave it up. I see the same thing with James Robinson.
I'm thinking maybe showing my age a little bit here, but harkening back to the days of Washington, he looks like early Stephen Davis. Now, you might not have been born when Stephen Davis was really.
I know Stephen Davis. I was young,
but like when he was when he really burst onto the scene, I think it was 99 or 2000 for Washington. I mean, it's just another level. Like James Robinson's going to have a nice career, so I like him quite a bit.
And one more guy I want to touch on. Don't want to spend too much time on this game, but Laviska Shenault, you mentioned him and Chark. Chark's an auto start for me. Laviska Shenault, we need to give this guy more credit. You look at the receiving pace. He's on pace for 48 receptions, 578 receiving yards. It's nothing spectacular. This guy is their RB2 right now. He has 7 carries. Their next running back behind Robinson and Shenault is 2 carries, Chris Thompson. You add in his rushing yards to his receiving yards, that 576-yard pace jumps to a 952-yard pace. This guy's a weapon. He's got a great floor because he's involved in the rushing game, and I think he's going to, like Robinson, start to become a fixture in starting lineups going forward.
You know what I really liked, or what I like seeing from Jacksonville, and again, this isn't anything new for us. We've been talking about the Jacksonville offense for a while because, again, another theme for fantasy football. You mentioned the Thursday night theme before. When a team has a really bad year, I think the fantasy football community at large does a very poor job of tracking the coaching changes at the coordinator level. Something we do in the book and all that. But Jay Gruden, everybody, the consensus, people don't like him. People don't like him as a head coach, but the consensus is he has a top 5 offensive philosophy and he's a top 5 play caller in the league. I've been saying this, banging his drum. Jay Gruden, Andy Dalton was a star under Jay Gruden in Cincinnati. Kirk Cousins was a star. I'm talking about fantasy football stars. Top 10 quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew, he's got everything that those guys had, maybe even a little bit more. He's probably of those 3 quarterbacks, my favorite quarterback in terms of talent. I love that he plays with balls. I mean, he balls out every week. He throws the ball up to Chark, gives his receivers a chance to play. I mean, this Jacksonville offense, and we were kind of dogging them against this, like in terms of futures and all that, but we knew the offense would have some strength to it. I like this team, man. Like you said, like I'm bullish on Chark. He's an auto start. For me, at this point, Robinson is an auto start. Minshew is close to being an auto start, and he's available on everybody's waiver wire right now.
Especially 1 QB leagues. Can we just stop with the Minshew hate? Get this guy rostered, please.
Yeah.
Like, he's legit.
He is legit. And yeah, I mean, the 19 to 20, he had a little bit of a, and this is another thing I love about Minshew. He had a rough start, statistically speaking. He had an interception early. He wasn't completing a lot of passes. Last week against Indianapolis, 19 to 20, we were talking about that. This week, he just started the game poorly and then caught fire against a very good Tennessee Titans defense. Like this, the offense is there for him. This team is better than I gave him credit for. Frankly, and this offense is just doing everything that we thought, and Laviska Shenault's coming along a lot faster than I thought he would. So, and not only that, but now you have D.D. Westbrook, who I know really hasn't played. You got D.D. Westbrook.
He's been inactive.
Yeah, right. Then you got Cole and Conley as like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th wide receivers. Tyler Eifert, who got in the end zone. This team has talent, man. They just don't ignore them. It's not a fluke, everybody. Don't ignore them. They're going to be a factor. Let me hit you to the line, David. Did you want to talk about any Dolphins? Sorry, I think we skipped over the Dolphins.
Not really.
Section.
Myles Gaskin, though, I think 4 and 6 receptions the first 2 weeks. That's something that pops out to me. The only other running back, I think Breida has 1 catch. So he needs to definitely be on rosters, even in deep leagues especially.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about Miami last week, and I had not watched the game yet, and we were kind of like, what's going on with Gaskin and Breida and snap count distribution? Was it a fluke? When I watched the game, I tweeted at you, but for the listeners that don't follow us on Twitter, by the way, at TFS_Sean, at Guru Fantasy World with WRLD, but all that's done in the show notes below. Gaskin is basically the running back when Miami goes to shotgun. Jordan Howard's not finding a lot of space running the ball when Fitzpatrick is under center. Gaskin, I think, actually out-carried Howard. That's more of a factor of how the plays are being called right now. But here's the thing you need to know about Miami is they're going to be playing from behind a lot. Ryan Fitzpatrick likes the shotgun. And when Tua takes over, and it's a when, not an if, when he takes over, I believe Tua will be playing out of the shotgun primarily as well. To me, all signs point to Gaskin getting about 60% of the snap count and the carries in this offense. Therefore, he's going to have season-long value. He is somebody that escaped everybody's waiver wire last week. And in a week where we saw Mostert and Saquon go down. You need running backs. You got Jerick McKinnon and you got Myles Gaskin. Those are the slam dunks right now. And if the Giants end up signing Devonta Freeman, that's another one you need to grab as well. But now let me hit you with the line, David. It's Miami +3 versus Jacksonville week 1. Who do you got?
I'm taking Jacksonville. I can't buy in and then take Miami for 3 points. I'm bought into Jacksonville at this point. I am.
Yeah, I think this is a close game. I think it's a field goal, and I think it's a push. If I were setting the line, I would have picked Jacksonville -3, and that's exactly what we're getting, Miami Dolphins and the points. Fitzpatrick, I don't know. Is this going to be the Jekyll and the Hyde or the Hyde week for Fitzpatrick? You never know. But I'm going to take Jacksonville for that exact reason. I love the offense. And the defense, look, I know they gave up some points to Tennessee. Tennessee is a talented team, and they're an efficient team. I know they gave up actually not that many points to a talented team, but they gave up a ton of yardage to Indianapolis. I think Jacksonville's defense, they had a mass exodus, but they're a little bit better too. I'll take Jacksonville this week. Don't feel great about it. Not spending money on it, but not bad. All right, let's move it on.